Chapter 41. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The holy wings descended on the light curtain, and this light surpassed the previous one, making people from all over the world feel the warmth in their hearts. Holy Angelmon, the left hand has a beam of light as a shield, the right hand has the light emitted by the sacred sword, and there are 8 holy wings on the back. It is an archangel-type Digimon, and its unique move is the Gate of Heaven. The Clown King looked at this holy Angelmon and was not surprised or frightened. Angel-type Digimon have too much restraint on them, let you taste the power of the Sword of Judgment. What, you think you can defeat me? Just one meeting, the Clown Emperor's doll was taken away from his waist, and he fell into the abyss. Immediately afterwards, the children were resurrected by the sacred light of resurrection, and Mimi also came here with many Digimon. Everyone, it's time for the decisive battle. The Clown King looked at these resurrected children and was very angry. He summoned a large number of imps. Damn it, you all must die. A vast expanse of darkness came towards the children, but they were not afraid at all and faced them head-on. Hammer spark. Wing slash. Holy bow. Super angle gun. The chaotic attack of the flower fairy cannon made the Clown Emperor extremely angry. Heaven's Gate. At this time, Holy Angelmon drew a huge circle in the air and slowly opened it, forming a different dimensional space. It's time for us to get to know the Clown King. Gaia energy cannon. Freeze bomb. The Clown Emperor was also blasted into the Gate of Heaven. The crisis of the 4 Dark Kings has been resolved. The children were also very happy, but Janai sent an email telling them that the real enemies were not the 4 Dark Kings. In fact, the real enemy of children is the distorted real world and the Digimon created by the evil hearts of countless people. Jobless reincarnation world. Is there a boss? This world is so dangerous. Rudius was extremely horrified. He originally thought that the evil 4 heavenly kings of darkness would be the ultimate powerful enemy, but he didn't expect that there would be others. Which of these ultimate bodies is not ridiculously strong? Moon World. There is such a terrifying enemy, it looks scarier than Tiamat. Jean shining on the throne said in a deep voice, they had tried their best to face Tiamat. The ultimate power of the Digimon in the video was enough to destroy a city in an instant, but the children kept encountering an increasingly powerful enemy. Desperate. In the picture, the children are pulled into a dark starry sky, and the children also know the real enemy. The children who know the real enemy don't know what to do. They really can't think of any countermeasures when facing an enemy that is physical but needs the heart to defeat. At this time, the darkness gradually emerged and appeared in front of the children. At this time, the sky in the real world turned dark, and the extremely evil figure emerged. People all over the world looked at the doomsday scene in horror. The children's parents were worried when they saw this scene. They just hugged each other and could only pray for them. The apocalypse beast slowly appeared in front of everyone, and the extreme darkness made people breathless and frightened. In the worlds with angels outside the video, you can see that the apocalyptic beast is facing a powerful enemy, while the abyss of hell is extremely fanatical. Apocalypse tells the children that he is the collection of evil thoughts of all Digimon that were eliminated during their evolution. It first degrades all Digimon and then destroys the badge. Finally, the data of children and Digimon are broken down. Naruto world. Damn it, no one can help them. Naruto looked at Apocalypsemon angrily, blaming others for his own failure. What kind of nonsense is this? Calm down, Naruto. Kakashi patted Naruto on the shoulder, his eyes also showing confusion. Did his father blame the people in the village back then? The children completely disappeared into the darkness. What world is this? This is the data world. We are all broken down into data. Have we already lost? When the children are in despair, the Digimon encourage everyone. Don't be discouraged. We will fight to the end. With constant encouragement, the children regained their confidence, recalled the things they encountered in the digital world, and recalled the best feelings in their hearts. The 8 of them are one, motivating each other. The badges that originally disappeared appeared on the children's chests. What is engraved in each badge is the heart of the children. My light badge also shines for everyone. Break through the darkness. Light. Dilliman Super Evolution, Celestial Beast. Everyone's hope is my hope. Never give up. Hope. Padaman Super Evolution, Holy Angel Beast. Knowledge. Beetleman Super Evolution, Super Pitamin. Kindness and True Feelings, Innocence. Ballumen Super Evolution, Flower Fairy Beast. Appraisal Oath, Honesty. Gomaman Super Evolution, Zhutian Beast. Selfless Dedication, Love. By Shaman Super Evolution, Garuda Beast. Tolerance and Mutual Help, Friendship, Doge. JPG. Gabuman Ultimate Evolution, Steel Garuru. Have the Courage to Face, Courage. Agumon Ultimate Evolution, Battle Greymon. Then the Digimon returned to reality and faced Apocalypse Mon. Finally, with the help of the Divine Plan, the Apocalypse Beast was successfully defeated. After that, both worlds returned to normal. The children's mission is finally over. At the same time, Janai told the children that now the digital world and the real world have been synchronized. In order not to be regarded as abnormal data, they can only return to the real world. The children and Digimon also said goodbye. The screen comes to the moment of separation. Bikuman and Sauna are next to each other on a tree trunk. When you return to your world, you have to say hello to your parents for me. Thank you Bikuman, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have resolved the misunderstanding with my mother. Gomamon and Zhang were sitting by the river, their eyes slightly downcast. Gomamon, let's shake hands. Gomamon was stunned for a moment, then raised his front paw and rubbed it on Zhang's hand. My husband said honestly, that this is indeed your hand. Gomamon, Ahe and Gabuman were on the hillside, quietly looking ahead. Ahe, can you play the harmonica for me again? Of course you can. The long sound of the piano reached Tai's ears. Damn it, Ahe, this bastard. Tai, what's wrong? It's okay. By the way, this seems to be the day we met Seedraman. I lit Seedraman's tail on fire. Agumon looked at Taichi sideways. He thought it was his fault that time, but he didn't expect it was Taichi's fault. Ahaha, don't be like this, Agumon. In the end, the children said goodbye one by one, but Mimi couldn't find Balumon. They also took the same bus at the beginning to say their final goodbyes. The real world is beautiful and there are loved ones there who love them. Of course, there is also a group of Digimon in the digital world, with the deepest thoughts and the most unforgettable memories, waiting for them forever. Beautiful. Mimi seemed to feel something as she leaned out of the bus. Mimi, I'm sorry. It's okay Balumon. At this moment, Balumon stumbled and fell to the ground. When Mimi saw this, she unconsciously wanted to rush over, but she forgot that she was already in the air, and the hat around her neck flew out. Behind the infinitely extending dream. Travel through a ruthless world. Don't want to lose to yourself. Oma love. At this point, the story of the 8 selected children comes to an end. And of course they will not be the last batch. Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Digimon 2 World. I didn't expect Taichi and I and the others to venture into the Digimon world at such a young age. We can't hold them back. Emiya Daisuke smiled and looked at the Vizaiman on the side. No problem, Daisuke. Digimon 3 Worlds. Kido, can I also evolve into the ultimate body? Gilman, who was just born, asked cutely. Of course, Gilman. We are the strongest. Digimon 4 Worlds. Fighter Soul, let's fight side by side. Takuya Canberra caressed the newly received Vulcan Fighter Soul. Digimon 5 Worlds. Brother, this ultimate form of Agumon is so cool. Agumon looked envious. Agumon, you can do it too. Demon said as he knocked the Digimon in front of him away. Digimon restarted. Tai, that seems to be you. Agumon rubbed his head, with a confused look on his face. Why was the video shown exactly the same as theirs, and the battle objects were the same except Demonmon, but why were they so different later on? Now they are going to face Millennium Mon. That might be me in another world, Agumon, and we will save the digital world with everyone. Tai clenched his fists and looked at the darkness in the sky. It was heart-stopping, but he would never back down. One Piece world. This perfect angel is so powerful, Kizaru said slightly obscenely, but the taste from his mouth seemed a bit wrong. But fortunately, no one died this time. The savior was just separated. General, he looked at these innocent children with a smile on his face. Do 8 children represent 8 beautiful feelings? Straw Hat Pirates. Chopper, do those forms of yours look like evolution? Luffy squatted down and asked Chopper in a low voice. Yes, it seems. Chopper's eyes lit up, as if some switch had been turned on. Few months later, the sweet-eating Chopper became the evolved Choppermon. The bounty also doubled many times. Pokemon World. Kanto region. Xiaoji looked at Pikachu in his arms with a determined look on his face. Pikachu, I will definitely become the strongest Pokemon master. Pikachu responded with a smile. Pick up. We will always be together and never be separated. Pick up. Zero World. 486 glanced at Parker from time to time, swallowed, and asked, Parker, can you evolve? Parker narrowed his eyes and waved his cat's claw, and 486 turned into a frozen stick. Eden Star World. Hubby, you can evolve too. Rebecca looked at Habby with excitement. Habby looked at Rebecca a little confused, scratched the cat's head, and then said excitedly, Rebecca, can I also become the ultimate body? Ah, this, Dragon Ball World, people who have just participated in the martial arts competition. They are so strong, I really want to fight them. Sun Wukong looked at the ultimate Digimon showing high-spirited fighting spirit, the world of Naruto. 9 llamas, let's evolve together. At this moment, Naruto is constantly talking to Jalama and wants to become friends with it. Roll, be cool, don't disturb me from my rest. Jalama showed a hint of impatience, but his tone was much better. Why, don't be so stingy. Children in many worlds saw this scene and wished they had Digimon who could fight alongside them. The adults hope that the next saviors will have a perfect ending and that children will no longer be the saviors. This kind of pressure is really too much. While many worlds were discussing, the light curtain that had been silent for a day became active again. Top 10 world saviors, no. 5. Game Life 0 World, Rick the Willer. 3-day summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the picture, a young man with his head tied with gauze, covered in scars and tears, wanted to grab a cup, but he couldn't reach it. It's over, this time it's definitely a tragedy. When everyone saw this scene, they seemed to already know the ending. Why can't the author of the dog video have a happy ending? Can you do some adjustments to the earthly world, that just when I thought I was getting better, I got stabbed in the back again? Game Life World. Is this our world? So what happened? Why do we have no memory at all? I don't know this history at all. The faces of senior people from various races showed puzzled expressions. In the palace, Dora looked at the boy in the video with some confusion, and whispered, Sora, is this boy similar to you? More than just similarities, they are exactly the same. Jabril, who was holding the light curtain on the side, kept licking it. Her innate desire for knowledge made her want to know how this light curtain was made. But it shouldn't be empty, right? After all, Sora looks so wretched now. Dora kept complaining, but the reason why she lost before makes her more and more handsome. Bai, brother, am I very wretched? Not at all. Bai shook his head, but then said, you are so stupid. Woohoo, Bai. Outside the city, Izuna was playing chess with Tetu, the god of games. The result was obvious, Izuna lost. Ah. Why did you lose? Izuna said, scratching her head, her face full of reluctance, but she still handed the fish to the young man with a smile on his face. The young man smiled and returned the chess pieces in front of him, picked up the king among them, and said to Izuna, then I will tell you a story that no one has heard before. The girl Izuna obviously didn't care and asked him to hurry up and compete with her, but just as Tetu was about to tell, a light curtain appeared in the sky, a figure that he misses. It seems that someone told this fairy tale for me. Game Life 0 World. In the cave, Rick looked at the video of the sky stupidly. That was himself. Then I thought of something and burst into tears, clutching my chest. That's the Star Cup, that's the Star Cup. Behind Rick stood silently a mecha girl, gently patting Rick on the shoulder. Wrap his head gently and stroke it constantly. There are no 16 races in this world at this time. Humanity is at the end. not even recognize that this is what happened 6,000 years ago, that it was a long war that tore apart the heaven and earth and shattered the stars. No one remembers, and no records are left that even so, but there is one person who remembers it in my heart, that the scene gradually emerged. A white-haired boy was playing chess with an unseen opponent in the room, but he never won. Immediately afterwards, in the dark sky, the blood moon hangs high, and the ground is covered with black ash. The world seems to be broken, with ruins everywhere. The screen gradually zoomed out, and the grown-up white-haired boy appeared in front of the public wearing goggles and protective makeup. There was no trace of life in the young man's eyes, only numbness. They came to the wreckage of the goblin warship and collected items, where they discovered the goblin world map. The boy was deciphering the message left by the goblin species. The more he deciphered, the angrier he became, and he growled, "How much more do they want to destroy this planet?" But at this time, they were discovered by the demon species. In order to escape, the young man looked at his companions with empty eyes, as if he had already experienced the same thing. The young man ordered ruthlessly to a man with a broken arm, "Yvonne, this is an order, bury yourself here." The man did not hesitate and nodded. The man swore an oath to his will. The man ran forward, took off his scarf, looked back at the crowd, and said with a smile, "Please leave my child alone, I'm sorry, Rick." A huge black monster bursts out of the wreckage. Iwang threw the explosive pack forward and said angrily, "Your bait is here. Bring it on. Monster species." Boom! A huge explosion submerged the demon species and Iwang. The boy ran out with another person. The picture gradually rose into the sky, with lightning wrapped in blood-colored mist. Several light beams penetrated the clouds, and an unknown object in the sky swept out a light beam. The flames exploded, forming a mushroom shape, destroying everything. Endless flames flooded the earth, and the battleships in the sky were also swallowed up and turned into dust. During this war, a young man told the story of the past. There once was something called the sun in the sky. The white flame exudes dazzling light, and the sky is clear and blue. Ancient, fairy tale-like story, the long struggle between the gods, and the species they created, burn the earth. The sky is filled with ashes, it rained deadly black ash. The young man raised his head, his desperate eyes were heart-wrenching. A small piece of black ash fell on Rick's forehead, and he was infected in an instant. The young man said with an indifferent expression, "These black and gray, maybe it can bring some mercy, because this black ash can isolate the enemy." This is the mercy in the young man's mouth. What the hell, in this bullshit world, the human race is not recognized. That deadly black ash is the last mercy for mankind. In this world, why can you even tell others to die? People in many worlds have completely exploded. In the war between the gods, has human survival become a luxury? Mid-Autumn Festival National Day Family Reward. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Grab a deposit now. Event time, September 29th until October 6th. Chapter 44. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rick returned to the underground, and Cloney hugged him happily. Tears flowed out, but she quickly recovered. At this time, a little girl ran over holding a piece of paper and shouted excitedly, "Dad. Where is Dad?" The little girl patrolled for a week but did not find her father. Rick walked up to her, knelt down, looked at her expressionlessly, and whispered, "Nah, Daddy, won't come back." Hearing this, the little girl's eyes widened with disbelief on her face, and she asked tremblingly, "Why?" The boy's eyes were filled with despair, but he still told the truth that made the little girl collapse. He died. The little girl couldn't accept the news, broke away from Rick's hand, and cried bitterly, "You're lying. I did not lie to you." In order to ensure the continuation of fresh blood, Rick used a heart lock to seal his heart. The corners of Rick's eyes kept twitching. He covered his chest with his left hand, pressing it tightly, and tightly grasped the corner of his clothes with his right hand. Despite this, Rick still said calmly, "Iwang fought with all his strength to win." The little girl shouted heartbreakingly, "This is not a victory at all. That being the case, it would be better to die instead of Rick." Nah. The little girl was held tightly by Crony. She held back her tears and told them to take a bath. Rick returned to his residence, completely unable to suppress his inner feelings, and shouted in a broken voice, "Say what? Talk about winning, you damn hypocrite. It was you who ordered him to sacrifice. Admit it, you were the one who killed him. It was his sacrifice that bought him his own survival. If this continues, what will happen in the future, when will it end? When the 999th person sacrifices for the 1001st person. It's still time to get to the last person. This kind of life is worse than death. When exactly will it happen?" The young man's hands were soaked in blood, and he squatted on the ground crying and moaning. Despair shrouded his heart. Outside the house, Crony slowly squatted down against the door, her eyes still full of tears, but she didn't make any sound. A sense of despair hangs over all human beings. Game life world. At this moment, people of many races couldn't help but feel a little sad when they saw this scene. Does the human species have such a tragic past? Damn it! Why don't we know anything about this history? That the blanks in the palace looked at the sky quietly. They will definitely lead the human species to the strongest, using their wisdom. Pirate world. Fertile, Rick. Luffy looked at the desperate Rick and began to cry, wishing he could run over to help him. "You idiot Luffy, stop crying." Chopper also cried bitterly. In the world of spiritual cages, Boss Bai looked at Rick and sighed. They were also lingering in the apocalypse, but the only enemies were the soul-eating beasts. Humans still had ways to resist, and Rick's enemies it's the gods, the world of super gods. Holy Kesha looked at the collapsed boy with pity, but in her heart she firmly believed that Rick would win in the end. "Come on, little one. The end of the Valkyrie world," the Valkyrie sighed. "Human beings are too weak in front of gods. Can humans defeat gods?" Valkyrie murmured, "Humanity in their world is also in a situation of imminent destruction." Screen continues. Rick came to an elven ruins alone with Ivan's map. He walked through the ruins, looked at the devastated ruins, and recognized that this was the work of the Flugel. Rick followed the vines and climbed to a high place. He was slightly shocked by the sight in front of him. The ground was covered with flowers and magnificent buildings. When he came to the center, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Rick looked at the girl in front of him in horror and said in a low voice, "It's a machine type. Evaluate, start state, analyzing." Rick trembled when he thought about the power of the Ex Machina. He analyzed that he must not attack the Ex Machina and gave up his plan to attack. The girl Ex Machina stared at Rick, her eyes flashing continuously, and after a few seconds, she pulled off Rick's scarf. "Elder brother, I can't stand it anymore, let me be a real woman." Ha! Before Rick could react, the girl mecha kissed him suddenly. People in the ordinary world are confused. There are only 3 symbols in their minds at the moment. People. What's going on? The dog food was caught off guard. Is there any mistake? Didn't Naruto and Hinata feed enough last time? Especially due to the empty world, Cheong was deeply touched and pulled his brother into the room. After a few seconds, the girl left the boy and gave up the analysis. Mistake, can't understand, that I must be the one who can't understand it. Rick was also confused by this wave of operations, but then he started to ask, as an Ex Machina, why do you come here to find me, a human? Answer, come and investigate the unique human language, what you call the heart. Heart. Reason, this machine was investigating whether the machine species had hearts, but conflicts arose due to theoretical loopholes, and it has now been scrapped. It seems that he is planning to rejoin the tribe. Request, this special language and skin-to-skin contact, an act of supposed exchange of hearts, please engage in breeding behavior with this machine, I reject. Rick put the dagger in front of him and vowed to die. The ceremony is open. White crystals appeared on the girl's head, rising into the air, expanding, and turning into a chessboard. Game 001, International Chess. Challenge. Game request. Rick looked at the chessboard in front of him and showed a long-lost smile, with a strange light flashing in his eyes. How could I win against an Ex Machina who is good at calculations, just in case, if I win? Answer, this person requested him to go home for breeding. In the end, the boy was picked up by the girl and returned to the settlement. 3-day summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brothers, is it my imagination that I feel like the wheels of a car are rolling back and forth on my face? Is such a serious world meant for you to consider this? One Piece world. These gods look really rubbish, just like the celestial dragons. Carp said something that made everyone present feel numb. Cap. John Guo looked at him with a look of shock and anger. How could he say this here? How could he find a good place to say it? Ah, yes, you can't say this, then you just pretend you didn't hear it, ha 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 ha. But no one was there to laugh with me. In the picture, Rick puts clothes on the girl, makes her behave like a human, and thinks of a name for the girl. Your name is Hubie. The boy put on the girl's hood and took her back to the settlement. In the room, Hubie proposed to continue playing games, but was ruthlessly rejected by Rick. If Rick defeats Hubie, Hubie will provide you with useful information. For example, the reasons why the war began, and the conditions under which it ended. Rick looked at Hubie gloomily and said what he wanted, because he knew there was nothing he could do. Hubie picked up the food that fell on the chessboard and said doubtfully, In this environment, humans can still stock up, is abnormal, not even the ex machina can analyze and understand it. There must be a reason for this, presumed to be the heart. Hubby wants to know what the heart is. Before the girl finished speaking, she was interrupted by the boy. The ore in the house that emitted a weak light gradually became dim. Hello, are you kidding me? You start wars at will, take away everything from us. Then what nonsense did you say? Human beings, why are you still alive? Tell us what's in your heart. Rick grabbed the dagger tremblingly. The anger in his heart could no longer be suppressed. He stood up suddenly, pushed the girl, and pierced the girl's ear with the dagger. Okay. Let me tell you what I think. Nothing has changed since birth. That means you all go to hell. Do you know how many people have been killed by you? How many people were killed? How many? How many more people do I need to sacrifice? Rick's tears couldn't stop flowing out, and his lips kept trembling. The girl gently wiped the boy's tears and opened her clothes to reveal the mechanical heart. As long as you stab here, hubby will die. We have no life, so we will just close permanently. Hubby, want to understand Rick's heart. If Rick's heart wants it, want to kill Hubie? A glimmer of light flashed in Rick's eyes, and he read the person's name in a low voice. Chad, Anton, Irma, Curry, Yasuo, Yuan. They all died because of my orders. Of course it's because of the war, being completely wiped away like dust. It was I who gave the order. Rick couldn't bear it anymore and rushed to bed, covered himself tightly, curled up together, and cried. Hubie looked at Rick's appearance. Something seemed to be born in his heart, and his face showed an extremely sad look. Deep in the cave, there are hanging gems, water dripping along the gems, and many people below are praying with their eyes closed. This is the resting place of the deceased. Even the bodies of the deceased cannot be brought back. The only way to commemorate the dead is through these pieces of gemstones. People have smiles on their faces. Even if they shed tears, they still keep smiling because they want to live together for the sake of those who have passed away. Hubie lived in the settlement for a year. They returned to the place where they first met. Here Hubie gradually understood Rick's heart, and Rick also learned from Hubie's mouth the beginning of the war and the conditions for its end. People 6,000 years later can't believe what they see. How miserable our ancestors must have lived at that time. Is this real? I don't know why my heart hurts so much. How I wish this video was fake. Screen continues. The battle between the giant dragon and the forest species spread to the settlement, and everyone began to flee. When Cloney saw Rick trembling in the room, she couldn't control it anymore and hugged him tightly. Rick, nah, take a break, leave the rest to my sister. At this time, Rick changed his previous tone and said with an evil smile, Hubie, have you recorded everything? Clearly. The unaware crony was stunned and asked quickly, Rick, everyone in the settlement and I need you, where are you going? Rick looked at her with a smile and said, From now on no one will die. Cloney looked at Hubie's tail and looked at Rick. who was completely different from before, and shouted with a smile, "Nah, do you have any big plans? Go play games, it's just a game between children." In the cave, everyone silently gathered in front of Rick, and the weak light could not cover up the firm belief on their faces. Everyone here has stayed until the end. It seems that all of us are no longer ourselves, no longer exist in the world, and have become ghosts. We are looking forward to the end of the war one day. We should no longer look forward to this future that will never come. Are we running around in this garbage world, lingering and hoping for the end of the war? Rick waved his hands, venting his emotions, and roared, "To whom? To those destroyers who claim to be gods. Artesh, the creator of the flugel, Canes, the creator of the forest species, and Okanen, the creator of the goblins, these bastards are constantly fighting for the throne of the only god, thus destroying our world." One chess piece after another fell on the map. It was these creators who destroyed the world. It's time to accept the fact that there is no hope in this world, so we must create hope. This world is just like a game. Those saboteurs are trying to plunder the conceptual device like the Star Cup. That being the case, let's make our rules and win. Rick held hubby's hand tightly, looked at the people watching him, raised his fingers high, and swore, "First, you can't kill anyone. Because I don't want anyone to die. Second, don't let anyone die. Because in my heart I don't want to kill anyone. Third, it cannot be seen through by anyone. Because that means death. Fourth, any means is not considered cheating. As long as it is not seen through, it is not considered cheating no matter what method you use. Fifth, there is no need to pay attention to the rules of other races. It's stupid for them to fight each other like this. Sixth, if you violate any of the above rules, you will lose. Victory that comes from violating the above rules is meaningless. Above, follow the rules and let's go. We are ghosts, no one of us can kill any race, including the gods, nor can we be seen through by them. Instead, we are going to use inducement to end this war. We are ghosts, ghosts cannot speak. Rick lowered his head, clenched his fists, and thought to himself, "But, if we win this game." The young man put one hand on his chest and looked at everyone with a bright smile. "Then can we hold our heads high? Die without regrets?" Everyone laughs as they gathered around. They were already aware, and no one showed any signs of displeasure or flinching. "Let's have a big fight and swear an oath to the legacy of the dead." "Pledge to your legacy." Rick smiled and raised his palm. "No, we are not swearing an oath to the will of the deceased, but to the rules agreed upon by everyone. From now on, swear to the covenant. Come on, let's start the game." Brothers, the chapter was sent wrongly. Repost. 3-day summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Game Life World. Many races have understood many things after hearing the oath to the covenant. It turns out that the peace we have today was earned by our ancestors with their lives, that the human being couldn't hide the pain in his heart and cried out in collapse. Kong looked at Rick, who was very similar to himself, and murmured, "Is this the prototype of the covenant?" Jabril on the side was lost in thought, feeling that she had seen this Hubie somewhere before. However, 6,000 years is too long, and many things can no longer be remembered. Screen continues. Hubie followed Rick to the entrance of the secret base. At this time, the sky was extremely gorgeous, with little rays of light pouring into the world. It was not as hot as the sun, nor as cold as the night, but only gentle. "Now, let me ask you a question. What is the probability that I will propose to Hubie now?" Hubie blinked and was stunned, but she still answered, "The purpose of the question is unclear and the estimate is basically 0. Rick chuckled and said, "See, you said it wrong." Rick knelt down, took out a ring, and said to Hubie, "Marry me and divorce me." Hubie looked at Rick with very incomprehensible eyes, and then said, "Interpretation, fail, request rejected." Rick was extremely shocked and lay on the cold ground, with tears streaming down his face. His whole body became pale, and he kept twisting his body. "I'm so sorry. A mere virgin shouldn't have his nose touched." The end of the world has not yet come, and the end of the world has come when the marriage proposal was rejected. World, destroy it, it doesn't matter anymore, people are already numb. Hubie slowly walked towards the entrance and murmured, Mary, it is a contract formed by humans for reproduction. Hubie is a mecha and cannot do this. Rick behind him yelled, That's okay, I just want to be with Hubie. Why, now, it's right next to you. That's not what it means. As a life partner. Ex Machina cannot reproduce. That's no problem at all. Ex Machina cannot perform actions. Rick will remain a virgin for the rest of his life. Rick hesitated for a few seconds, gritted his teeth and said, That's okay too. Hesitated. Don't worry about the little details. Hubie had a confused and sad expression on his face, his body was trembling, and he whispered, No. Because I destroyed Rick's hometown. 12 years ago, there was an unexpected large-scale battle between X-machines. The other party is Yanlong, one of the 3 kings of dragon spirits. In order to defend against Yanlong's roar, the Ex Machina turned their attack position, and that direction was Rick's hometown. After listening to hubby's words, Rick shook his head helplessly, scratched his cheek, and showed an innocent smile like a child. I know all this. Even with these premise, I still fell in love with Hubie. Rick caressed Hubie's cheek and said softly, Let the past go, there is no point dwelling on the past. Gritting teeth, regretful, crying loudly, must move forward next time. Rick bent down and took hubby's hand. Even in this world, I want to be with Hubie. Rick gently put the ring on her ring finger. Will you be my wife? Hubie gave up thinking at this time, tears streaking down his cheeks, a storm of mistakes and logical contradictions. Let her understand that this is emotion. Little girl is not talented. Forever, forever, please let me stay with you. It's my turn to say this. Passerby heroine world. Senior sister, I think I will marry a two-dimensional wife in the future. The senior sister in black silk stockings looked at the second-rate junior student with dissatisfaction. Why? Because kawaii. Dragon King world. Master, will you marry me in the future? I looked at the Dragon King expectantly. This, maybe. At the same time, several of Dragon King's inmates were asked by people around them. In the picture, the ghosts do not kill anyone, do not let anyone die, and only use various means, intelligence, strategies and deceptions to induce the war situation. The goblin species are provided to the orcs and are creating a species that can kill even the gods, named a marrow blast weapon of massive destruction. And Rick appeared in front of the elf species, when he appeared in front of Hubie. Again, he was already on the verge of death and had inhaled black ash for too long. Rick, who was almost still breathing, looked at Hubie who looked anxious and asked weakly, Hubby, how long do I have? Hubie picked up Rick and said with an angry look, Rick must live before Hubie dies. Rick raised his head, his face was half contaminated, and asked softly, how many years does the machine Kai species live? 892 years to go. Haha, then I have to work harder. The ghost's first goal is accomplished, keeping the war ring away from humans. The ghosts are constantly plotting war behind the scenes, and everything goes according to their plan. Almost all races are led by their noses, however. There is also the strongest flugel species here, the spirit species. When Cloney found Rick, looking at his appearance, she almost collapsed and felt extremely heartbroken. At this time Rick also revealed their plan. They want to destroy the planet so that the Star Cup can appear and then rebuild the planet. Brothers, I'm crazy. I coded from 1 to 5 this morning. As a result, the wrong chapters were sent. I just finished editing and found that the manuscript was cut and not saved. As a result, all the content was lost. I spent a few hours playing with balls. My mentality is a little bit explosive. 3 days summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the arena of the Kingdom of Light, the new generation were all dumbfounded. This kid Zeta could actually defeat Beria. Good guy. Is this so damn reasonable? Is this the same strength as the fool they knew, who only knew how to be reckless? Really? The new generation who was in the same period as him stared at Zeta, who was standing at the front, celebrating his great victory, with extremely complicated eyes. To be honest, they didn't think Zeta could beat Beria at first. However, when I turned around, I gave Zhongao such a big surprise. Ha 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 ha, I will be super awesome in the future. Dizium's ascended claw form is really super powerful. Zeta laughed loudly, put his hands on his hips, raised his head, and showed off to his companions around him. He finally got a chance to show off, so he had to make good use of it. Zeta, don't be too happy too early. You can take this form with the help of Beria and the human body. Can you change it yourself? The colleague on the side said sourly. However, the stupid Zeta didn't care about this at all. Now all he can think about is, I am so strong. The world of Ultraman Zeta. 14. Yoko-senpai, Yuka, you are too close. Seeing the two women approaching in front of him, Yaohui shrank his neck in fear and kept walking backwards, his head growing huge. Even he didn't expect to be exposed so suddenly. Who would have thought of this? Yaohui. Where is Lord Zeta? Let me be healthy quickly. Nah, Yaohui, would you like me to study it? It's going to be a lot of fun. The two women were rubbing their hands together, and Li was radiating a coveted look as if he was about to enjoy the prey. He was so frightened that he quickly looked for the captain. He was the only one who could save him. However, Jagula said calmly. I'm going to the toilet. Cosmic prison. Regarding the fact that he lost to the hairy boy again, Beria was almost so angry that he had brain congestion. Compared to losing to Zero, losing to Zeta was even more difficult for him to accept. He had a clear view of Zeta's previous performance. To put it simply, it can be summed up in one word: food. If it had been him in the early days, he wouldn't have needed two hands to deal with Zeta, but after a trip to Earth, it was like changing into Ultraman. This reminded Beria of the Ultra Brothers, all of whom had spent some time on Earth. Is there really a way to help them become stronger in this place? At this moment, Beria also has to pay attention to the humans in this universe. It seems that he must find an opportunity to visit the Earth. Screen continues. Jeed walked slowly to Beria, knelt down and whispered softly, Father. Hearing this voice, Beria's manic heart miraculously calmed down. He looked up at his son's face, feeling a different emotion deep in his heart. But he was so proud that his face never showed any meaning. I probably guessed what Beria wanted to say to you at dusk. After all, I also have your genes in me. Different from his previous anger, Beria was shaken for a moment and then yelled and swatted away Ged's extended hand. Shut up. I am your father's parallel time and space counterpart, and I don't have any son at all. Beria dragged his seriously injured body in despair and turned around to leave. However, Gede never took his eyes away from him. The eyes reveal sadness, longing, and expectation. From beginning to end, all Gede wanted was a father's love, nothing more. No matter how ordinary this emotion is, perhaps it is the luxury that Jade will never be able to obtain in this life. Yes, my father is right. To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Beria in this universe has been destroyed by him himself. It is too wishful thinking to long for father's love anymore. Kingdom of Light. Jade, what a gentle child. Yes, it's a pity that his father is Beria, so he is destined not to be like ordinary people. The first generation Ultraman lowered his head and sighed. He couldn't think of any way to let Jade experience this kind of warmth. To reform Beria. Do not make jokes. Now Beria has been completely eroded by the evil thoughts of the Reblondo people. Let him hug the child without raising his hand and slashing at it with his paw. That's fine. What's this? I can be Ged's father. As soon as Ace said these words, Zhongao was stunned by his bold speech. Even Ultra's father is no exception, this bad boy. Screen continues. After the kingdom's fighting power was defeated one after another, the balance of victory continued to move closer to the Ultraman clan. Tartarus, who was completely dragged down by Zero, had no time to clone himself. I was accidentally cut by Emmeline. The injury hadn't healed yet, and with this heavy blow, Tartarus also let out a low roar of pain. But it's impossible to make him admit defeat. The adult will wake up soon. I can stay here forever, but I must take over the Kingdom of Light before I fall. This belief is extremely unstoppable. When Zero heard this, he was immediately shocked. that there is someone behind such a powerful Tartarus, 240, without waiting for Zero to take action, Tartarus flew out of the starry sky, looking down at the planet below. The killing intent is high. Continuously squeezing energy from the body, that he wants to blow up the connected planets among the Ultramans. Absolute destruction to the extreme. In an instant. Release irregular golden lightning from the palm of your hand and wreak havoc on the planet. Boom! The sky was torn apart in an instant, and the shock wave released by the violent drill swept across the entire planet, that the Father of Ultra and others who were far away in the Kingdom of Light were even more shocked and their expressions changed drastically. This energy is so huge. Zero below looked at the dark clouds that were easily torn apart, and the aura of destruction rushed towards him, that I planned to use all my strength to stop it, but before he took action, there was a strange movement in the space around him, then the Ultra King appears, that I personally blocked this destructive energy, don't fight anymore, absolutes, is smelly old man, stop causing trouble. That adult is different from you. He will guide us forward. Immediately, Tartarus no longer held back and used maximum power output, that the two destructive energies continued to collide, and finally a different space was born, absorb Libet and Tartarus to other universes. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Game Life World. Jibril, why do you have to kill her? Dora cried and looked at Jibril, whose eyes were a little dazed. It turned out to be her, sorry. There were no rules at that time, wars were fought everywhere, and many Chinese people were suspicious of each other. Jibril's long-lost memories were opened. Jibril, sit down, Bai looked at her unhappily. Okay, master, in the picture, Rick received a notice from the ghost that Hubie was dead. He pretended to be calm and came to the place where he and Hubie often played chess, I thought this time, we can definitely win. Hello, why can't you win? Rick leaned against the chess set, holding the chess piece in his hand, shaking constantly. I don't know what God created humans. Behind Rick, there was a young man with a vague figure sitting. He didn't speak, but just lowered his head. But please, even if it's just once, can't you let us win once? Rick held the chess piece tightly and raised his trembling hand to smash it against the chessboard. That being the case, why do you give your heart to me? The blurry figure did not respond to him. Hubby, Rick cried in despair, looking at the chess piece in his hand, as if he saw Hubie's hand, and suddenly thought of what she said before. Rick, live before Hubie dies. Yes, Hubie is dead, that's okay, I will follow you. Rick leaned his body against the chess pieces, relaxed his whole body, as if he was relieved, and closed his eyes. Willer, Rick. Rick, who was about to fall into the abyss of consciousness, heard this strange yet familiar voice. He looked up and looked ahead. A man in a black robe appeared in front of him. Who are you? What are you doing here? Rick knew that he was an ex machina, but the warning was to ask him why he was here. Although I don't have a name, everyone calls me Einshai. I'm here to fulfill the will entrusted to me by Hubie, the legacy body. Einshai spread the ring in front of Rick, and at the same time released Hubie's will. Rule 2, don't let anyone die. Rule 6, any violation of the above will be considered a defeat. So Hubie's loss, not included. General, Rick. Next, please. Rick clutched the ring and cried softly. Einshai began to explain his plan. They can sacrifice everything for Rick to help him pierce the planet and destroy the God of War's marrow, so that the Star Grail will appear in front of Rick. We are ex-machines, a machine without a heart, just a prop, that we will only obey orders faithfully. Therefore, Rick the Willer, please modify the plan, give an order. Rick's body kept shaking. Hubby, if this is your wish. The screen suddenly turned and appeared in the God of War camp. All fighters. Apocryphal code Skystrike. The whole book is open. Thousands of Skystrikes suddenly appeared in the sky above the God of War camp, and endless fire covered the God of War camp. At this time, the camp was in a state of panic, not knowing who had launched the Skystrike. Who launched the Skystrike? Azrael quickly rushed out of the camp. At this time, other races were also attacked, but none of them actually hit. Goblin species. War declaration attack from Atbonheim confirmed. Prepare to launch Marrow Blast. Forest Elf. Release the Zeroth protection technique of the Void. Right wing, attack Arthu. Left wing, attack the goblin fleet. Shinka Nerba unfolded the technique. His face was extremely gloomy, and he doubted the direction of this attack. Is this Atbonheim's attack? Wrong, this is. Various races thought the Flugel had launched an attack. In an instant, artillery fire was raging, and people outside the video felt their scalps numb. The power of this scale of war was much more terrifying than the previous ones. Azrael, who flew out, saw the densely packed ex machina in front of her and said fiercely, "You're underestimating us, scrap metal guys." Just as they were preparing to counterattack, the sky became extremely dark, and a huge vortex appeared in the sky, accompanied by endless lightning. Everything in space and time is shaken. The ocean is evaporated and everything is in deathly silence. The god of war is coming now. Lord Artesh, the Flugel bowed respectfully to the figure appearing in the sky. The other races stared blankly at the sky, as if it was a doomsday scene. At this time, they only had one thought in their minds: divine species. What exactly is it? This is the real god. He is aloof and never cares about the survival of ants. Everything is controlled by God. Been waiting for a long time. My real enemy, Atshur, the god of war, has never looked down upon other beings who claim to be gods. He is the strongest god. I see, looks like he was pulled off the stage by the weak. Is it the common destiny of us strong men? Right, monkey. At this time, the people of various tribes thought they were talking to the X-machines, but what they didn't know was, the gods are looking at the weak humans. Rick's cold and ruthless eyes slowly opened and he said calmly, "Fires sky strikes from behind Atbonheim, won't hurt anyone. The 11 races are about to move to the designated location," the god of war whispered, commanding the Flugel. All members, ready. The god of war, the strongest god, must go all out at this moment. Rick knew how terrifying the opponent he faced this time would be. The opponent is a divine species. It's easy to see through the cleverness of mere human beings. Even so, they will also fight back with all their strength. Because that is the principle and the way of the strong. The god of war's emotionless words swept the entire world. You guys who don't know the heights of heaven and earth. Just a bunch of dust and garbage. Struggle, resist it. No matter how much you insects resist, you can never defeat the gods. It will only bring destruction. Each race began to release the attacks that Rick expected. The Zeroth protection style of the void is used in all directions. Marrow explosion, launched in all directions. Divine strike, the sky suddenly burst into dazzling white light, gradually forming a miniature sun. This terrifying collection of power was enough to destroy the planet. Even the attacks of the forest elves and goblins cannot stop Artesh's divine strike. These energies will collide and shrink, turning into a light that announces the end of the world. Then, the traffic control set up on the ground began to operate. The small sun in the sky gradually descended, and the faces of the people of all races showed expressions of despair. But at this time Xian could discover that the attack had deflected. She hurriedly followed its direction and saw that there were many figures floating in the air, forming a huge wall. They are exactly the machine type. Tears flowed from the corners of Einshai's eyes and he said calmly, "We are machines. Props without heart. Living without life, living even if dead." Above. All the X-machines responded, "Learn. My highest respect to all X-machines." At this time, a small crystal in Rick's hand began to move. 11 groups, 4807 individuals. Report, start syncing. The ceremony is open. Now I hand you the Codex Star Killer, suddenly appeared in the void, looking like a small tower, with a sharp sword underneath. Rick held the Star Killer in his hand and murmured, "There will be no children available. Draw. Sorry, gods. A white light shoots to the bottom. That is the essence of the god of war." This blow destroyed the core of the planet and broke the elven corridor. After a moment, like a ray of light, the polyhedron of a pentagram and the regular dodecahedron of a star appeared. This is the Star Cup. 3-day summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. One Piece World. Marshal of the Warring States period, It's not good. Some Tianlong people have been chopped into pulp. Many places where the celestial dragons appeared all caused riots. For a while, the celestial dragons cried for their fathers and mothers. Damn it, this is the moment. Zhang Guo punched through the table with an angry punch. The influence of this video was too great, even Garp stopped joking. How terrible, the world is about to change completely, and it may be a situation that would be terrifying even if you become the Pirate King. Huang Weisua murmured. It seems that the next plan will be discussed with someone. Dragon Ball World. Beerus looked at the god of war defeated by mortals and closed his eyes in disdain. Wes, do you have any dessert? Lord Beerus, there seems to be a planet with good desserts. Then let's go. If it doesn't taste good, just destroy it. Game Life World. The little fox Azuna kept crying, Hubie's death, and the sacrifice of the ex machina, in the screen. Star Cup. Rick walked towards the Star Cup, looking at the Star Cup so close at hand, his heart lock was completely broken at this moment, and he roared, for this moment. How many people died? Hubie's companions and other living beings. How many people have been sacrificed? You don't hesitate to deceive yourself. He even took advantage of Hubie's feelings. How do you, call it a draw? Rick reached out to touch the Star Cup, but before he could touch it, his hand began to dissipate, the energy was overflowing, and Rick, as a human, couldn't bear it at all, and his body was collapsing. It was as if the Star Grail would not allow mortal hands to defile it. At this time, humans are not called a race, there is no elf corridor, and they cannot touch the Star Cup. The ring floated in front of Rick's eyes, and Rick cried desperately. Hubie. Sorry, Hubie, I lost again. Nah, Hubie, if you and me, if two people are one, then we will definitely win next time, Hubie. Must be there next time. A game without death. The light gradually engulfed Rick's body, and Rick cried heartbreakingly, if God was born from emotion, a god of games, although my life is like dust, I'm willing to give everything I have, this is my only prayer, please that if we say a mere loser, if you want to steal the Star Cup, it's too dirty, if these hands stained with blood, too bloody for the throne of God, so please, at least tell us, what we do is meaningful. Anyone good, as long as he can end this war. Let that person have the Star Cup. Still no one responded to him. Rick closed his eyes in despair, and at this moment, the confused figure lightly stepped on the air and flew towards the Star Cup. Rick seemed to feel something. He opened his eyes suddenly, looked in the direction of the Star Cup, smiled slightly, and said softly, what the hell, sure enough you exist. Nah, I said, let's play games again. I will definitely win this time. Hubie and I will. It was a boy wearing a big hat, with diamonds and spades in his eyes, a boy that no one had ever seen before, but Rick knew him because he kept losing to this guy and never won. This is the weakest and final species of god born out of Rick and Hubie's belief. Their god gently hugged the Star Cup, and a white light enveloped the world. Everything revives. Everything seems to have never happened. Back to the time when there was no war. When I was young, I always felt that the world was very simple. There is no game that cannot be won. Lucia Continent. In Rick and Hubie's dormitory, the sun shines on a board of chess, and Cloney moves the white chess piece to a position. Dying, right, Rick? She thought about her last conversation with Rick. If everything is over, can you help me move the white car to E6? Clooney. Dora, no, elder sister, I'll leave everything to you next. The girl's trembling hands held the gem engraved with the names of 3 people tightly, and her tears couldn't stop flowing out. Now, Rick, Hubie, you two really did something extraordinary and ended the eternal war. In just 2 years, you are really amazing and you are worthy of being my proud brother and sister. But, why, sister, why do I feel so unwilling? The girl decided not to cry anymore, leaned against the wall, and left here. At this time, the god of games appeared next to the chess set, moved the chess pieces, and said with a smile, that's because the game isn't over yet, this is not checkmate, it's a general. Then this way, you actually forced me into a chess game between generals and generals. Haha, this is the first time. It actually tied with me. The dazzling sunshine, the clear blue sky, everything is just like the fairy tale said, the god of games is at the top of the world, looking towards the mortal world. Not created by anyone, not expected by anyone, not relying on any prayers, relying only on their own will, they evolved from beasts to two-legged walking, and gained the nameless race of intelligence, human beings. For you like this. I give you the name, immunity, human species in the name of the only God. That is, the 16th race that claims to possess intelligence. Carry on the legacy of the deceased. This world does not have reincarnation. The god of games raised the star cup and shouted excitedly, Abolition of interracial alliance pact, based on the 10 covenants, we take the oath to the covenant as our respect. At this moment today, the world has changed. Spread. Let the game continue. Swear to the covenant. The scene shifted to 6,000 years later, when Tetu touched Izuna's head happily. At this time, 3 figures ran from a distance. Tetu looked at them with a smile and left here quietly. The world is not complicated, maybe like he once said, I went through many difficulties, only then did I create this game. Tetu was floating in midair, holding his head, looking at the world. A pair of 2 people who were very similar to Rick and Hubie appeared in the light curtain, surrounded by flugel, orcs, and elves. The eyes of boys and girls are full of confidence, looking into the distance. Sarah, let's start the game. The picture ends abruptly. Thanks to KKK12345ZSS for the reminder and monthly ticket, and thanks to Caillou *** for the reward. Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance of an internet cafe in a certain world, a group of teenagers were sneaking around. Go play games. Doesn't it matter even if your parents break your legs? So what if a broken leg? I'm determined to play this game today. Even if my dad comes, he can't stop me. Real? Swear to the covenant. Your dad has 5 seconds to reach the battlefield. Go away, your father has just arrived at the battlefield. You bastard, how dare you go to an internet cafe? Damn it, I'm sorry, Dad, I don't dare to do it anymore, I won't come again next time. Forget it, I will go too today to pay homage to my lost youth. Man holds 7 wolves and pulls children into the abyss. Game Life World. Sora, Shiro, you actually appeared in the video, does this mean anything? Dora was stunned, this is a savior inventory. Could it be that they are the saviors? Wake up, have you forgotten Article 10? Sora grabbed her by the abyss and woke her up. We just want to have fun playing games. Their present was obtained with their lives, so they will push the human species to the commanding heights. Some of the remaining Ex Machina species looked at the passing of Rick with extremely sad expressions, but when they saw Sora, my heart became excited again, and love almost came to my heart, regardless of male or female. Tetu sat in the air, swinging his legs, showing a happy smile. I'm waiting for you here, Gamers Video Game Coffee World. Jing Taijun, can I go to your room to play games tonight? Tiandao Hualien looked at Amano Keita with a shy face. Of course, Tiandao-san, I have so many games that I can play them all night long. Amano Keita was extremely excited, and he couldn't wait to enter the world of the game. Tendo Karai looked at this fool with a sad look on his face. Sword Art Online World. Asuna, today can I go to Alice's place? Kirito looked at Asuna with a worried look. Hanzina glanced at him, grabbed his waist fat, and gave him a vicious look. Let's go. Accelerate the world. Senior sister, which legion are you going to attack today? Chunri is eager to try at this moment, but the restlessness deep in her heart cannot be tolerated. Let's play together today. Recording the Horizon World. Shiro-kun, where are you going today? Shiro thought for a while and said, go find them. Wife in online games cannot be a girl's world. Nishimura-kun, skip class today and play games. Yazi hugged Nishimura tightly, her big eyes gleaming. Overall boundary, the empty nester looked at the endless sky and sighed deeply. In the days without companions, I miss them. Albedo quietly came to Old Bones, stretched out her hand, and said with a smile. Lord Ames, we have carefully prepared a game for you today, One Punch Man World. Saitama-kun, I will fight you with one finger today. King put the handle in front of Saitama and said calmly, Saitama, what the hell? This is what you said, let's see if I don't beat you down today. Half a day later, KO. Saitama's head turned red with anger, gas spewed out of his nostrils, and he yelled, Rubbish, trash game. At this time, Genos had already prepared the meal, put it on the table, took off his apron, put it aside, and shouted to the side. Teacher Saitama, food is ready. At this moment, an afterimage suddenly flashed in front of his eyes, and Saitama slammed the door angrily and walked out. King in the room grinned and said lightly, Mr. Saitama, you are still far away. After Saitama solved several weirdos, he felt refreshed. Many people in the world were infected by Tetu and became addicted to the game for a while, but only a few people risked everything on the game. A sizzling sound came from the light screen. It was different from the past. This time there was no sad music, only a photo of braised eggs. Top 10 World Saviors, No. 4. The World of One Punch Man, The Bald Demon King Saitama. 3-day summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now, activity time, August 13th to August 15th.